Hey, Tommy, how you doing? Hope all is well, everybody. We're back to Wednesday night. Hope all is well. Hope everybody's having a great evening. Hobby, looking around, seeing what's out there and stuff like that. And I mean, recently we had Heritage High Number, come out, and then now we've had you know, regular Heritage come out for 2025. And man, I mean, there's not really a lot going on. I mean, it's crazy. It's making me, wonder, where we are as a hobby as a whole. Uh, we have not a lot of product being put out. We're getting to the end of Panini, well, close to the end of Panini having the rights for the NFL, and the NBA. But I mean, you know, when you look at the NBA, for instance, I mean, it doesn't seem to be that much. Big John, how's it going, buddy? How are you? There doesn't seem to be that much going on in the hobby, from that standpoint. So I mean, basketball, like I said, basketball viewership is down, a bunch of stuff like that and everything. You know, when you look at this NFL draft for upcoming cards and stuff like that, who are you really looking at? Excuse me. Who are you really looking at? Who are you looking to go ahead and collect? Cam Ward, uh, Genty for the Raiders. You know, I have a funny feeling Shador Sanders because of what a lot of people believe happened to him during at the draft, of him having to wait until the fifth round. You think about a lot of the money, that he lost out on. Uh, you know, Now I'm sure, I wonder. I would almost have to believe, that with the excuse me, with the what do you call it? The slotting. I can't believe that. I don't know. Can you offer a fifth round pick more? Like, is the slotting from the first pick to the last pick? I'm not sure how that slotting works. But I guarantee you, just falling out of the first round is very, costly, because first round picks, teams have that fifth year option, which, not saying that can, you know, not saying that teams can't take advantage of a guy that has outperforming his deal, but it does go ahead and allow them, the leeway to keep a fifth, that fifth for the fifth year. Um, so it was very, very interesting. You know, uh, I'm I know we'll never know why. We may think we may know why, but I have a funny feeling, we won't know why. Um, But it wouldn't surprise me if it had something to do with Dion. Now, I'm not gonna lie also, I'm not sure how good of a pro he's going to be. Um, I I you know, is he a pro bowler? I don't know if you can use that anymore as a what do you call it? As a measuring stick. Because all you have to do is, you know, if they still have that, I don't know what the way the Pro Bowl has changed, but when you look at it from a standpoint of, if you go ahead and say, well, oh, this guy's a Pro Bowler, there have been a lot of players that have become Pro Bowlers who should not be Pro Bowlers, because what happens? The guys from, the Super Bowl don't go to the Pro Bowl, then other people don't go, and next thing you know, you have a guy, who might have been the sixth choice or the seventh choice is a Pro Bowler because all the other guys in front of him were like, "Yeah, nah, not gonna happen." So, I don't know what his future lies. Um, I gotta believe he has a chip on his shoulder. What's happening, Larkin? How you doing, buddy? Uh, just talking about Shador. I mean, I'm sure he's gonna have a chip on his shoulder. Um, you know, so we'll see what happens. Again, like I don't know how good he could be when you look at his numbers. What they talk about. All of his numbers and oh, look at the completion percentage and all that kind of stuff, and the record and what he did with the programs. It all depends on who you play. I mean, they can set the schedule up in college the way you want. It's not like they were in a super conference. Yeah, like I was saying, I don't think overall he's very good. Look, if he proves everybody wrong, he proves everybody wrong. That's the biggest truth. But I, you know, if you're the Browns, though, do you? What's up, Dusty? How you doing? If you're the Browns, man, you drafted Dylan Gabriel also. I'm not saying that Dylan Gabriel's, oh my gosh, the next, the next great quarterback, but now what do you do? So, I mean, typical Brown fashion, they probably could have figured out somebody who maybe kind of sort of might have wanted that fifth round pick. And maybe they could have picked up an extra six rounder. They could have maybe tried to trade rather than taking them. But okay, to each their own. Um, when you look at the way that draft room went ahead and reacted, I got a funny feeling, and I think they actually said it on. Some people mentioned it either on X. I don't think they said anything on the broadcast, but I think it might have been on X. Oh, probably. Of that seemed to be a very unenthusiastic draft room, and a lot of people thinking that it was, you know, Jimmy Haslam, who has a relationship with Dion, who finally went ahead and took him. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. The Browns, yep. Peyton would have been, you got that right. Hey, Peyton would have been a blast at the draft if the Jets drafted him too. So she didn't do it. Shador is screwed by being near the Browns. Yeah, I don't think you. Yeah, don't get me wrong. Yeah, I agree. You know, from that standpoint, I was very surprised that Pittsburgh didn't take a chance until I saw they drafted Will Howard. Then that made sense. There are a lot of people who think Will Howard could be a really good really good quarterback in the NFL. Again, the things that have to be done to make it to the Super Bowl and stuff like that. I mean, it is more, we look and we go, oh, look, we had Philadelphia has Hurts and you had Mahomes. Those are your last, two quarterbacks, and look how great they are and everything. They also go ahead and have really good teams around them. Howard is worse than Sanders. Really? Wow. I thought people were talking him up. I'm very surprised by that. I thought there were a lot of people saying that he was a halfway decent quarterback, you know. But again, how does all this tie into collecting? This ain't going to be great for the hobby. This is Now they'll get a reprieve next year with a couple of the QBs who might come out. Um, but this year again, your big chase in any kind of product. I mean, it's got to be Cam Ward, and then I don't know how. I mean, I don't know if he's a franchise quarterback. I know he's good, but I don't know if he's a franchise quarterback. What's up, Anthony? How you doing, buddy? Um, so again, overall, when you look at the hobby, man, people are going to be paying big dollars for these boxes, hobby boxes, or they're going to be paying, good money to get in breaks. And personally, uh, you know, my own opinion is I don't necessarily, believe it's going to be, worth it. Yeah, Hunter will be the big name. Yeah, you're right. You're right. And if Jacksonville doesn't ruin him, you know, if Jackson, uh, yeah, if Jacksonville doesn't ruin him, so um, I don't know. Again, I think when you look at the hobby as a whole, it's in a in my own personal opinion, it's in a weird a weird type of place. I'm just not sure. I'm not sure what people are going to do. I mean, my team, the Jets. You know, first draft between for the coach and the GM, the new regime, and it's probably a C minus at best. Um, to go into this draft knowing you needed a defensive tackle in a very defensive, or you need a D line man, but you really need a defensive tackle to go into this draft that was very deep in D tackles, and you don't walk away with any of them. Doesn't make sense to me. Does not make sense to me. From that standpoint, you take a couple more defensive backs. Um, the wide receiver you pick is a guy that you have to hope turns out that he'll put in the work. He didn't have the greatest hands in college, but oh my gosh, he could fly. He could take the cover off defense. I mean, well, if the guy can't catch the ball, who gives a rat's ass? I mean, that's really the truth. If the guy cannot catch the ball, whoop de doo. You know. So again, my team didn't have a great draft. There's a, I mean, some teams had really good drafts. The Giants, man, the Giants to pass, do with it. Giants were smart. They take Carter, they come back in and take Jackson Dart. Now, You know, I don't know about Jackson Dart. Is he the second best quarterback in the draft? Probably. He probably was. Then they trade back in to get him, and then they get the kid Scatterborough from I think that's how you say his name from Arizona or Arizona State, I think. And that's a good three players to come around to come back come in with in the first couple of rounds. Yeah, yeah, it was a good place to get him. They traded back in, got him and stuff. There were, there were people who thought that he could go even earlier in the first round. I think the Giants were smart to jump in where they did, because I wonder if they didn't jump in there, the Rams picked next. Would the Rams have taken Jackson Dart? I think they would have. And the only reason why I say that is because as soon as the Giants made that trade and made that pick, the Rams traded out. From that standpoint. Uh, so I don't know. I mean, like I said, the draft was interesting. There's, I mean, again, when you look at it, there's some good players. Um, are there all-time greats? Who the hell knows? You can't. Shit. I mean, you can go back the last 5 drafts, and you don't know if there's any all-time greats. Um, but again, I don't know. Like I said, from a hobby perspective, when I look at it, this draft did nothing to move the needle in the hobby. Uh, you have a lot of people spending they're going to spend a lot of money on boxes, and you got to figure Jacksonville and Tennessee, you know, probably the Giants because of Carter and Dart. Um, but they're probably your teams that are going to be your hot teams. Those are going to be the ones, And I think I think the potential of Sanders, not necessarily um, because of what he can do on the field. I think there's going to be a lot of people with his merchandise. I think there's going to be a lot of people looking for his stuff. What's up, Jedi Master? How are you, sir? And all of a sudden, get a little stuffy. Um, so it'll be interesting. I mean, it's really going to be interesting to see what happens. Who knows? What's up, Johnny? How you doing, pal? Hope all is well with you. Um, you know, Ovechkin scored on a face-off. The Capitals take care. Let's talk some hockey. The Capitals go ahead and take care of the Canadians. Um, Good for them. I think that I think that was that's good. I mean, the Capitals really good team. Uh, from that standpoint. Panthers are right now your Panthers are up 6-3. A minute and 45 left in the game. I'm just looking at it. The obviously these times may be behind, but a minute and 44 in the third. Panthers are beating the Lightning, so the Panthers are up 3-1. So the Panthers are gonna go and take that one. So we got still have to wait tomorrow night. This is for Eastern Conference tomorrow night. Canada can't win in hockey. Very true. Very, very true. Um, so you're gonna have your Florida's gonna be moving on. And Toronto's up 3-2 against the Senators. So that'll be interesting to see where that one goes. Anything is possible. But more like I said, more than likely if the Toronto wins, it'll be Toronto against the Florida. Who knows? We'll see there. In the West, man, no series is the only series that could the end tonight. Uh Actually, no. No series can end tonight because you got the Jets against the Blues Brothers. And the Jets are up 2-1. It's only the first period. Winner of that game goes up 3-2. Stars Avalanche is 3-2 Dallas. Vegas, Minnesota is 3-2 Vegas. And Edmonton against LA. Edmonton's up 3-2. So still a lot of hockey. So if the Capitals beat Canada, who is in charge of the territory? Hey, Pierre Bouvier. Um, but hockey, there hasn't been a lot going on with the hockey. Um, the I don't know. A lot of people. Mets could not make the comeback, even though they had bases loaded with nobody out in the bottom of the ninth. Bullpen fails again. That was a bullpen game. Never mind. But the bullpen, Stanek. Very bad, very bad, very bad. In the NBA, let's hope we get Minnesota winning tonight so we can go ahead and get rid of LeBron James. But again, basketball again. Honestly, I think it has um it's lost its luster. I mean, basketball. I mean, attendance overall down. Um, you know, I don't know how much oomph or bump or anything they're getting from this playing game crap. I got to believe, if you're a fan of a team and the team finishes in, seventh place, and unfortunately, they play two bad games in a row, bang, bang, they're done. They don't make the playoffs when, old school, they would make the playoffs. Um, So I'm not a big fan of it. Houston did stay alive. They put a 15-point beating on was it right? I think it was 15 points. Yeah, 15-point game. Yeah, the playing did the heat. I mean, yeah, you know, I mean, you lose by 55 points in the playoffs. That's that's not good. That is not good enough. Yeah, Rockets. Rockets are they're a very interesting team. They're going to be young. It's going to be interesting to see what the Rockets do um, as they go forward. How they're going to try to improve their team. They have something that a lot of teams are going to want. They have a lot of good young talent. So maybe they bring in a Devin Booker, a Kevin Durant, somebody along those times. I'm sure Giannis is going to be on his way out. You know, um, I would think, depending on what happens with Michael Malone, uh, the Joker could maybe want to go somewhere. Yeah, yeah. I don't. Yeah, the Heat thing, losing by 55 points in a season-ending game is crazy. I mean, when you look at the box score, Wiggins, Adebayo, Ware, Mitchell, Hero. I mean, the only guys that didn't play were Kevin Love, Alec Burks, and Terry Rozier. It ain't like those guys were going to be the difference that tipped the scale, in Cleveland, and Darius Garland didn't even play. So Cleveland's going to be tough. Cleveland is going to be tough. You got Cleveland, Indianapolis. So that is going to be that could be a good one. Um, I think the Knicks will beat Detroit, but I don't know. That Detroit team is tough. That's another one. A lot of young kids, they don't care. Playing with house money, man. Playing with house money. We'll see if Ryan shows up. Um, like I said, overall basketball. I mean, yeah, I get. I know. Don't get me wrong. I know playoff basketball. Is different. And stuff from that. Like Cleveland had. No, that was in. I mean, in Miami, and it says the attendance was over 19,000. That's crazy. Yeah, I tell you, there is a good amount of young talent spread around the NBA. Um, that makes teams like Detroit, Houston, um, Big John's, Chicago Bulls, even though, they where they finish, they have some decent young guys. Orlando does. Charlotte, who knows? Washington has a bunch of young guys. I don't know whether they're good or not. I mean, to be honest with you, I really don't know. Uh, Atlanta, it's going to be interesting. I mean, how long can they keep Trey Young there? Trey Young, really good player. Will he want to go ahead and stay, go someplace else? Who knows? All I know is the NBA doesn't get a lot of hobby love anymore. I mean, you know, when I look at the boxes that are being opened, when I look at that way people are talking about it and everything, there's not a lot of talk about it. A lot of people are not talking about They're not talking about the NBA the way they used to. You know, you look at the way these guys play. Uh, you know, and they bitch and moan about having to play back to back games, and it's so stressful on the body and blah blah blah. And they're sitting out because of rest or injury management, even though they're not hurt and everything. Um, they travel like crazy, take 3, 4, sometimes 5 steps. Refs look the other way. I mean, you look at that Knicks Detroit game, not this last game, but the game 4. That was like it was a little reminiscent of old school basketball where it was very physical and they weren't going ahead and calling much of anything. Yeah, I mean, but to tell you right now though, Lachlan, I think somebody would take a chance on him. I think somebody, if the deal is right, they'll take a chance on him. It's like people were talking about Luis Robert in baseball of how bad he is right now. His home run total's not bad. His average sucks. He plays good defense. I think he's a guy who a change of scenery would do him well, and I think he might go ahead and bounce back. Now, I'm not talking bouncing back being a 300 hitter and hitting 50 home runs, but if he could go ahead and hit, 250, that seems to be okay in today's baseball. Why? I don't know, but it is. Bases to get exactly. I mean, I'm still showing my Walmart still has um Chronicles draft picks from I think 2 years ago, maybe 3. It's crazy. Um, yeah. I mean, it's crazy. There's the basketball product is just sitting there. I mean, it is absolutely crazy how much product from 23, 24 is still sitting on a shelf. Yeah, still sitting on a freaking shelf, doing nothing. And they're still trying to get full price for it. They're still trying to get, either 29.97 or 34.97 per box. That's crazy. Crazy. You know? I used to, and I mean, I really used to love watching basketball on TV. It was, that time before baseball, that time when baseball season ended to where baseball season started. Um, it was really, excuse me, it was really something that I would literally, you know, stop working on my eBay stuff to sit on the couch and watch a basketball game. And now it's like I might, but I might just put it on the TV over there and work, while I'm kind of sort of listening in the background because it's not an exciting, it really is not that exciting of a game anymore. Overall, there are times when it is. Like you look at the Knicks Detroit game. Man, the ending of that game was crazy. you know, that game had some that game that and again the ending of that game was really really good. But you know, that was that game. Then you had the Cleveland game, and you had the Boston game. And then you had when the Lakers got better. And you look at, with tonight, you had the Rockets win by 15. There's not as many good games as there are. Yeah, I mean, Sean, I'm always interested in wrestling cards, man. Um, I know you're usually, looking for Astros or I don't know if you're into Rocket cards or Texans, whatever it may be. But that's okay. So hey, I want to go back. Um, I want to go back to the draft for a minute. What do you guys, those of you that are here, what did you think about the prank call for Shador? And on top of that, what about who it was that actually made the call? Um, let's talk from wrestling. Yeah, tomorrow, Friday. That'll work, buddy. You know, if you want to text, you can. If you want to send an email, that's fine. Whatever you want to do, however you want to contact me, that's cool. You know, that was crazy. Yeah, I mean, I'm both ways with it, to be honest with you. I mean, I think it's sad that it happened to him because you look at the moment, but um, I think it stinks that it happened. That was a really good pick. I don't know if he can win Rookie of the Year. I think that's going to be difficult for Hunter to kind of lose or Cam Ward, but we'll see. Frank Hall, Bush, and Fangs should have been fined more. Yeah, I'm just seeing that the Falcons were fined $250,000, and the former Jets head coach or interim head coach, I guess you call him, the D who's the D coordinator there was fined 100,000. Um, yeah, to me, I think the Falcons probably should have been up more about 500,000, but but we'll see, we'll see. Yeah, Sanders was probably going to be in that realm of a little more difficult to deal with, but we'll see. Oh, I didn't know there were more players pranked. Very, very interesting. That just happens when you're arrogant and you don't have the talent to back it up. Yeah, like I said, there's a part of me that that wants to see him, you know, do good. Um, I don't think it's going to happen. I just don't think he has the talent, overall talent. Again, you look at who he played for, the conference he played in. He should have had good numbers. Well, are you counting Deshaun Watson? I don't think I am. Draft, you win a playoff game in the NFL yet? No, let's talk about non-winners because we missed the NFL. CEO, my man, you just got a hello from Dom. The CEO says hello and he says peace out. Yeah. Oh, they did. They did good. He's not huge like Allen, not athletic like Jackson, and doesn't have a rocket arm. I agree. I agree. In my opinion, for him to be successful, two things have to happen. Number one, he has to realize that he got drafted where he got drafted for real reasons and not blackballing like I think a lot of people think. I don't think that was true. I don't think his talent, again, I'm not sure about his talent from a perspective that, like, did he deserve to be in the first round? Was he a third round or a fourth rounder? I don't know. But I think again, to me, he definitely was not a first or a second rounder from that standpoint. But number two, and what's going to be the most important thing is he's going to be a system quarterback. He has to understand that. And hopefully, I mean, if it's Cleveland, if he gets cut and signed someplace else, that whoever understands that knows what they're getting, and they're getting someone who really is going to have to be a system quarterback. Yeah, that's true. He was in the Big 12. I don't necessarily know whether it was a cakewalk, but you know what? Let's see. Teams. So he was with Colorado, Rocky Mountain High. I can see it bright in the sky. So Colorado, so Arizona, Arizona State, BYU, Baylor, Cincinnati, Colorado, Houston, Iowa State, Kansas, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, TCU, Texas Tech, Texas, Texas, Texas Tech, UCF, Utah, and West Virginia. It's no Sun Belt, but it's no Big Ten or SEC either. Hey, Super Bowl picks. Get the hell out of here. I don't know who's the force in that conference. I predict Super Bowl gets canceled. NFL's scared of the WC. Who was in the Big Ten when you take out Ohio State, SEC? Couple. Oh, don't get me wrong. I don't disagree with you there. When you look at the Big Ten and stuff, the ACC is nothing to really be to go crazy about. The NIL has changed the landscape like crazy. Hey, Mike, how are you? We were just talking about that. What's gonna happen? John Denver on the street. I don't think he's out for the year, is he? I heard that they said he was feeling a little better. But yeah, I mean, it is amazing how averages for a lot of guys that were good hitters have just tanked, and how there are other guys that are just like, you know, hitting crazy numbers. Yeah, I think you're not you're not gonna have the powerhouses anymore because it's all gonna be about the money. Look what happened with the quarterback from Tennessee. Hey, I know I signed this deal. An 18, 19, 20-year-old kid getting over $2 million to play, 11, 12, 13, college football games. Hey, that's not enough. I need more money. Boom, he's gone. He goes to LA. I mean UCLA. So I don't know. Man, I hope not, Mike. I hope not. Um, but NIL has changed it all. Look, I don't know how much it's going to change men's basketball, but you see it already changing women's basketball. The girl who was potentially the second round draft pick, in the WNBA draft, she went ahead and said, nope, took an NIL deal, got more money. Yeah. I don't understand that, but, that's what's going to happen. These guys, you know, they're going to, you know, a lot of them are the talent. You know, it's funny, you know what? Just a few years ago, we were talking about, oh my gosh, you need to probably going to have like a super conference that's just going to have, all the best teams and so on and so forth. Well, there's only going to be like three conferences and all the three major conferences and so on and so forth. I don't necessarily think that's true anymore because of the NIL. When guys are going to go, I can, you know, I can go play in the SEC for Georgia, and you know what? I may not see the field for 2 years, or I could go to UNLV and I can start right away, and I can go ahead and get a whole bunch of money. I mean, the NIL again sounded great. Hey, you know, we're spending money. We're making our money because the schools are making so much money off of us. I get it. It kind of made sense, but oh, they do. Mhm. They do. They most certainly do. When you look at, you know, what they can do, when they can go ahead and tap into their alumni, and you look at some of the alumni from Alabama, even from Arkansas, from Auburn, from Florida, from Georgia, from Kentucky. And they may not be football guys, but they got basketball guys with a lot of money. LSU, Mississippi State, Missouri. So it's going to be interesting. The thing that makes it is that look, there's still going to be a bunch of schools that are, you know they're not going to have the ability to come up with the NIL money, but the ones that can, again though, you know, like I said, to me, what I thought the NIL would do more than anything was give the guy who would maybe go to Alabama and be the third or fourth running back, not see the field freshman year, maybe see a little bit of it sophomore year, hoping that junior year he sees a little more, and then senior year comes out and has an unbelievable year. That guy doesn't have to go to Alabama anymore. That guy can go to Missouri now because Missouri can go ahead and pay him, and he can play. He can go to UCLA. He can go to hell. He can go to UNLV. He can go to go to Arizona State. There's so many more places because they could offer him money to go ahead and go. And you know even though I agree the SEC does have a crap ton of money, you know they still they can't just give it to everybody. It has to be, I guess, it has to be passed out throughout. I'm thinking maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, I don't disagree, but you know what, Locken? They're going to be able to because it's going to go to what, 12 teams, and when it gets to 12 teams, I mean, we're going to see, you know, I don't know, maybe the California Golden Bears come out of the ACC because they play an unbelievable schedule and they win it. And why is that? Because you got Wake Forest, Virginia Tech, Virginia, Syracuse, Stanford, SMU, Pittsburgh, North Carolina, NC State, Miami, Louisville, Georgia Tech, Florida State, Duke, Clemson, California, and Boston College. That's your ACC. When it comes to football, look at Clemson. Look where Clemson was when the playoffs first started. When they had Deshaun Watson, they had I forgot the other guy. They had if you look at where they were, and now they're not. Doesn't seem to be like they're able to. Doesn't seem like they're able to go ahead and keep up with the Joneses to try and sign these guys. To deals. Again, I don't know why, but it doesn't. Yeah, that's a coach thing, and that's something that needs to change. I don't understand why Dabo is so against it. You know, um, I wonder how much longer he's going to stay. I mean, look, that's why Saban got out. Saban got out because he's like, you know what? Nah, man, this isn't going to work. This is not going to work. Because I don't know if a kid's going to put in all the hard work he needs to put in to stick around and stay for another year because he didn't get enough playing time this year. Where now it's like, hey, I'm a really good whatever position player it is. I'm an unbelievable linebacker, an unbelievable DN. I'm a corner. I'm a safety. I'm a wide receiver. I'm the tight end. I'm a left tackle. You don't have to stick around anymore. You know, you you say I'm going to enter the portal. All right, NIL deals. Come on, who's got them? Let's bring it. Let's bring it. You know, you know. So who knows? Like I said, I mean, NIL. It has hurt, in my opinion. I think it has hurt college football more than it has helped. Um, a lot of these guys sticking around. Again, a lot of them stick around and they're like, you know what? Hmm, you know, and I know we're saying he's not very good, but use a Will Howard as example. I don't know if Will Howard, I think he was a transfer somewhere. The kid from Notre Dame was a transfer. So okay, you're a transfer because I wanted to play the extra year and I can get NIL money. I don't have to worry about the draft and everything. It is definitely, definitely killing basketball. But the one and done is killing basketball also. You know, I mean, to me, just go back. Just get rid of that. Just get rid of it and say, you know what? If you want to go to the NBA, go to the NBA, see how it works out for you, and go from there. Um, and maybe the NFL, needs to figure out how to use the UFL um in a way as a minor league type thing. How about Baylor's Man Bear totally losing their team? Yeah, yeah. Oh, these two guys graduate. Man, we're not going to be that. We're not going to be that good. Let me go ahead and transfer out. Yeah, I think it's crazy. It is absolutely crazy. The portal and the one and done for college basketball is terrible. It is terrible. It literally ruined the game. I mean, I don't watch a lot of college basketball, but I will typically during, March Madness, watch, I don't know, maybe like 4 or 5 games, maybe more. Zero this year. I watched zero March Madness, you know, because, once they're done, that's it, done. Let me go to the NBA. I mean, Cooper Flag made a lot of sense. Some of these other kids, though, like that freshman kid from Maryland, he's gonna go. Okay, I mean, I guess a lot of them. I guess when you look at it from a standpoint of, and I think where some of them missed the boat, I think some of them want to go because actually, because they think they want to start their free agent clock. I think in basketball, I think that's in my personal opinion, I think that's something that is driving them. They're looking at that and they're going, okay, if I can start my clock now, man, I have a potential to get two max deals or a max deal and a super max deal. So I think that's why you see it. And the sad part is, you know, not a lot of them make it to that point. They may get a second contract, but a lot of them aren't going to get that max deal. And that's just the way it is, unfortunately. Some will. There are the diamonds in the rough that will eventually, shine and get a max deal. Look at Jalen Brunson for the Knicks, right? When you look at where he was at Villanova. I can't believe there's a lot of people who thought that he would, be where he is. Yeah, most of them won't see a lot of playing time. They won't. And if they do see playing time, it's not going to be a lot. The first few guys in the draft. Like, I wonder if you looked at this last NBA draft, pardon me, and you did rookie stats, it'd be interesting to see um, the minutes per game. Excuse me, the minutes per game. It'd be very, very interesting to see that because I don't think that number is going to be a big number. You know, and they trade around second round draft picks and second round picks like it's nothing. Hey, we'll give you 5 second round picks for this player. Well, obviously, it shows you where a team values that. But that is a trading chip. Those things. It's funny when you look at it. It's like, hey, that went from Cleveland to New York to Dallas to San Antonio to Los Angeles to Portland, finally ending up, with Houston. I mean, it's just, it's just crazy. What's the 2025 NBA rookie stats? Well, huh. Wow. Not gonna lie. There are there are more guys getting some good playing time than I thought. Now, a lot of these guys are not playing for good teams, but you look at the Washington, they're not the Bullets. What the hell are they called? Whatever the hell Washington is called now, Wizards. They had Carlton Carrington, Alex Starr, and Keyshawn George. Those are three rookies, all averaged over 26 minutes a game. Not bad. That's not bad. There are some guys who have gone ahead and got some time. Now, it'd be interesting to see how many of these are first round picks, second round picks, so on and so forth. Or were they free agents and stuff? This one's not really saying stuff, so. But again, that's a handful, right? I mean, that really is just a handful of, a handful of guys. Now there were a bunch of guys who played in a lot of games. Some of the guys had pretty good seasons. Um, but I don't know. I think when you look at basketball, not a big fun game and everything. College basketball, again, it's a waste. And like I said, now you even have some of the other sports where, they're saying, hey, if I don't get my money, I'm not going to play. And for us that are in the hobby, I know where, we have a big baseball crowd here and we really don't see that in baseball. Um, you don't see it. I mean, you don't see a lot of that kind of stuff, you know, because when you look at the draft and MLB, yeah, we're starting to see some of these first round guys, second round guys come up sooner rather than later, which is really good to see because if a kid deserves to be in the big leagues, he should. But the MLB had to put those rules in there to make it happen to where if you bring a guy up early, you know, and he does well at rookie of the year, you get, there's money involved and so on and so forth. So they had to incentivize teams, to bring up some of their younger guys. Is that good for basketball? Is that bad for basketball? Good for baseball, bad for baseball. I think it's good for baseball. I want to see the young guys come up, you know, give them a shot, see what's happening, see if the hype is worth it. But who knows? I mean, who knows with any of these guys? I mean, what do they say a lot of times? It doesn't really matter where you got picked. It's just that you got picked. And that's why when I think of, Shador Sanders and stuff, and he's gonna have a big chip on his shoulder. If he does good in the NFL, I will say I don't think it'll be with the Browns, but look, I don't want to really talk about him that much anymore. Wasted way too much breath, and you guys wasted way too much fingertips hitting keyboards on a guy who, if his last name was, I don't know, Jones, Smith, Throckmorton, who knows what would have happened if he would have gotten, drafted sooner or not even drafted at all. So, but I don't know. I mean, we'll see. We'll see how the hobby reacts to it. Again, there's going to be the one thing I will say is this: he makes a team, he gets a jersey. Don't be surprised if that is a top 5 jersey this year. Don't be surprised if a Shador Sanders jersey from Browns jersey will be up there. Here's what I said, I don't want to talk about it anymore. Here I am talking about it. Dang it. We'll see. I don't know if Johnny's still here. Wrestling is interesting. It's crazy. We're gonna have, John Cena against Randy Orton at Backlash. It is the roles have been reversed. Every other time these two guys have fought or wrestled, um, Randy Orton has been the heel. John Cena has been the face. That is going to change. Backlash is going to absolutely suck. Oh crap. Yeah, we'll have to see about getting the crew together, see who wants, see how if we can go ahead and do Backlash. Yeah, this card, I mean, Logan Paul against um Jay Uso, Pat McAfee against Gunther. I don't think. Have a good night, Shawnee. Thanks for hanging out, man. Much appreciated. Um, Cena and Orton. The only thing that's going to make it not good, but it's the only thing that's going to make it fit the storyline is because John Cena said he wanted to ruin wrestling. But to me, Randy can't go like he used to. John can't go like he used to. For all of us that watched all those matches, and a lot of people can be like, "Oh my gosh, oh my gosh," and that is going to be a letdown as a main event. you know, Now that you say that, yeah, it might be one of those things. Oh, that's true. I forgot about Becky against Lyra. I mean, Jay can't carry Paul. No. Gunther Mac, yeah, I don't understand. What are you gonna do with that one? You can't have McAfee win. I mean, are you really gonna bury Gunther? So again, we talked about it at WrestleMania. This is another one where it's becoming predictable. You pretty much know Cena is gonna win. You pretty much know Jay is going to win. You pretty much know Gunther is going to win. I'm not sure what they're doing with the men's tags, if that's going to be on the line. I don't know if any of the women's titles are going to be on the line. I'm still, yeah. Only one spot. Only 5 matches? Did I miss did yeah, I mean, Lyra has to win, but is Becky gonna put her over? I don't know. That was well, hey, don't forget that is the night Zelina's husband came back. That's all I'm saying. That's true. You're right. 5 matches, so but do you put Pat over and then Gunther leaves for a while and the turn and face the face turn? You know, I don't know how you turn Gunther into a face unless the only way I think you could turn Gunther a face would be would you have Paul, the Heyman stable, Rollins and Braun Breaker, would they have a reason? And I don't think they would to beat the crap out of Kaiser and Gunther comes out to save Kaiser? I don't know. I don't know how you turn going after Cena. Yeah, that's how you could make him a face, but something would have to happen before that, in my opinion. Because if you don't flip him and you put him in the ring with Cena, there ain't no way you're flipping him at that point in time. Not gonna happen. You know. Roman Punk and the other guy versus the Heyman stable. There is the Heyman stable is 2 guys. From what I have read, I don't know if there's a rush to add a 3rd guy to it. So we'll see. Um, you know, I mean, do they get Rusev on Backlash? Do they get Aleister Black on, do they get those 2 guys on Backlash? Now, I think you could have Rusev because he's been gone away. You could have him potentially try and do something to stand up for Seth and um stand up against Seth and Braun Breaker because remember he's the Redeemer. If you kind of use that gimmick a little bit, so that would be interesting. I don't know. Yeah, that could be. I mean, if she were, I mean, I guess it would make sense. Her husband's there. You tie the storyline in. It would work for somewhat. Um, I don't know, but like I said, I mean, this is just another one of those. I'm sorry. All right, Larkin, have a good one, buddy. Thanks for staying so long. Much appreciated, buddy. Thank you. Um, the whole Becky thing. I don't know. I'm not sure. You know, I'm not sure what they do, but to me, this is another one of those incidences where, look at this. You bring up Roxanne Perez, you bring up Julia, you've had Stephanie on, Stephanie Valquer on a couple of times. So you're bringing up these women from NXT to what? Put them in mid card feuds because you're having Becky go after titles, you're having Charlotte go after titles. Could we get Nia Jax against Tiffy? Could we see more Naomi? Roman, Punk, and AJ. Yeah. They're doing something. They're going to be doing something with Karrion Cross. What's going to happen with him? I don't know, man. I don't know. I just don't. The lines. I would say the lines are blurry But I don't know if there are lines, to be honest with you. Everything seems to all of a sudden get rushed. Why do you have to have Jay Uso against Logan Paul? Why? 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 That's his first defense. Why? You know, I mean, it just goes to show you, it was funny. Someone said, man, Rollins and Breaker, who can stop this faction? And the truth is there's probably there really isn't anybody. Nobody on Monday Night Raw. I mean, you're gonna say, oh well, you're gonna have Roman and Punk. Why? What are they gonna do? What are they gonna do? I don't know. We'll see. But hey, guess what, folks? You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and shut it down. Been on for a little more than an hour. We've had a lot of work done on our house over the last 3 days. A lot of painting. House was in disarray. Wasn't sleeping that well, so gonna check it out. John, I'll get something out to you, to Big John and Anthony. We'll try and see if we can do something Wednesday night. It obviously won't be as long. If there's only going to be 5, maybe 6 matches we could talk about, but we'll definitely go ahead and do it. Thanks, everybody. Much appreciated. Thanks for hanging out. And as always, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I never say that, but I'm going to say it this time. And it's so late. Who cares? I'll catch you guys later. Ciao.